The best liar you'll ever meet won't look nervous. They won't fidget. They won't avoid your eyes. In fact, they might hold your gaze just a little too long and sit just a little too still. And that's exactly what gives them away. Not the nervousness. The control? Jung spent years in clinical practice studying patients who had made deception a way of life. People who had maintained false identities, hidden secrets from their closest relationships, performed versions of themselves that had nothing to do with who they actually were. And what he noticed wasn't chaos in their behavior. It was order. A strange, uncomfortable kind of order. The kind that doesn't look like a person. The kind that looks like a performance. I wasn't going to open with this, but I keep thinking about something I witnessed in hospice work. Before I left that field, before I burned out entirely. A man, 74 years old, 4 days from the end, finally told the truth to his family for the first time. Decades of a lie he'd been carrying. And his daughter looked at him and said, "Dad, we already knew. We've known for years. We just didn't know how to tell you that we knew." He'd exhausted himself for nothing. That's what deception costs. Jung had a name for the version of yourself the world is allowed to see. He called it the persona. The mask, the social face, the performance we construct and maintain in public. Professional, composed, appropriate. And he made a critical observation. The persona requires energy to sustain. Enormous, constant energy, because the body was never designed to run a lie indefinitely. The system was not built for it. And that is exactly where the two signs come from. Sign 1 is the one that surprises people. Most of us believe you can catch a liar by watching them squirm. Hands in motion, eyes shifting, voice going tight. That's the cultural image. The nervous liar, sweating through a story that doesn't hold together. But here's what nobody tells you. That image is wrong. When someone is actively managing a deception, especially a high-stakes one, a significant portion of their cognitive resources goes into surveillance. They're watching your face for signs that you believe them. They're editing their words in real time. They're suppressing their own emotional response to what they're saying. And the cognitive overload of doing all of that simultaneously shuts down something the rest of us don't think about. Spontaneous movement. Natural gestures disappear. The small nods that usually accompany conversation stop. Hands that would normally move with the rhythm of speech get tucked together or pressed flat on a table. The voice becomes too even. Not calm, but engineered. The blinking pattern changes. You stop seeing a person telling you something and start watching a person performing being a person. Jung described this as the persona going into overdrive. When the mask has to hold, everything tightens. The face becomes a controlled surface. The body becomes a prop in the scene the mind is directing. Now stay with me here, because this matters. The stillness itself is not evidence of a lie. Some people have low gestural range. Some cultures condition expressiveness out of people. What you're looking for is not the freeze in isolation. You're looking for a change in freeze, a deviation from that person's natural baseline. If you've watched someone tell a story they genuinely believe, leaning forward, arms moving, small micro-expressions crossing their face without effort, a natural rhythm. And then you ask them something that matters, something with real stakes, and everything goes flat. That's the sign. That's the persona clamping down over something the body would otherwise give away. The body has stopped cooperating with the mind's story. The second sign is faster. Much faster. Researchers studying deception found that when someone suppresses an emotion, tries to contain what they're actually feeling, the face still moves for a fraction of a second, less than 1/25th of a second in some cases, before the conscious mind can stop it. They called these micro-expressions, and the work documenting them over decades found that they almost always carry the real signal underneath the managed surface, a flash of contempt when someone claims to respect you, a flicker of fear when they claim to be unbothered, a brief tightening at the corners of the eyes when a question lands somewhere they weren't expecting it. Wait, think about what that actually means. It means the body is generating the true emotional response before the performance catches up. The real feeling is already there. It just gets suppressed in the next fraction of a second. But for that one moment, it crossed the face. And here's the thing. You don't need laboratory training to see them. You have already seen them. You've looked at someone's face in the middle of a conversation and felt, with no clear reason, that something was wrong. A strange pause. A blink at the wrong moment. Something that didn't match the words. And you couldn't explain why you felt it. That feeling was data. Your nervous system registered the micro-expression before your conscious mind finished processing the sentence. Jung described this in a way I have never heard bettered. He wrote that the unconscious always expresses what the conscious mind is trying to suppress. Not eventually, not under extreme pressure, but constantly, quietly, through the hands, the posture, the breath, the brief movement of the eye. He called it the body's unwillingness to comply with the lie. What he was pointing to was that deception is not just a conflict between two people. It is a conflict inside one person, between the mask they are performing and the truth that keeps trying to push through the gaps. The shadow surfacing despite the persona's best efforts. The micro-expression is that surfacing. It is the moment the shadow blinks. Remember what I said at the beginning? The best liar stays too still and holds your gaze just a little too long? That's the persona, doing exactly what it was built to do. Holding the surface intact, presenting calm, offering nothing that looks like guilt. Most people watching that person would believe them. The performance is good, but the micro-expression is what leaks through the seams. The half second when something real crosses the face before the performance catches up to it. Two signs. One is about what disappears. The spontaneous gesture, the natural rhythm, the organic expressiveness of someone who has nothing to hide. The other is about what appears. The flicker of a different emotion. The shadow expression that contradicts the words. I want to be honest with you about the limits here. Jung was careful about this. He did not believe you could build a court case on behavioral cues alone. The unconscious is too complex, context matters too much, and a person under real pressure can look guilty without being guilty at all. Someone with anxiety looks like a liar. Someone in grief looks like a liar. Someone who was lied to themselves and has stopped trusting their own perceptions looks like a liar. What he believed, and what the science consistently confirms, is that the body always tells a second story alongside the first one. And that you already know how to read it. You've just been told to doubt what you're seeing. Here's the thing worth sitting with tonight. These two signs aren't just tools for catching other people. They work the other way too, because the same persona dynamic, the same micro-expression leakage operates in you. When you're telling a story about yourself you don't fully believe anymore, when you're performing contentment you don't actually feel, when you're answering someone's question about how you're doing with words, your body won't back up. The people who know you have seen those micro-expressions. They've felt the freeze when the conversation touched something you weren't ready to discuss. They registered it the same way you register it in others, as a feeling they couldn't quite explain, a sense that something didn't match. Jung's work on deception was never really about catching liars. It was about the cost of the gap between who we perform and who we actually are. And his argument was that closing that gap, slowly, imperfectly, honestly, is the actual work of becoming a person. Your body already knows the truth. It's been trying to tell you for years. The question is whether you're ready to stop performing and start listening. Take care of yourself.